So, hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, depending on when you're hearing this. We have another Evergreen podcast. And for those who do not know what Evergreen means, that's basically we have a podcast where you can listen to it at any moment in life. So, we're not really talking about life events, we're just talking about life topics that will always be sustained throughout time. So, my name is Rich, also known as Mr. G to you, also known as the antisocial socialite. If you do not like me, so be it. So be it. I'm here today with special guest Ron, aka you see him, and another special guest by the name of Mandy, also known as Mr. GTU's sister. So I'm gonna allow them to introduce themselves. And since Ron already spoke, we're gonna go with Mandy first. So Mandy, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Amanda, Mr. GT's sister, Ron's cousin. It's me. I say as I want to say.
Fair enough for me. And Ron, also known as you see him, and introduce yourself to the people.
Hey, AKA, I love me some street meat. So, I love me some street meat. So, anything, any barbecue, no salt, please. A little less on the sodium. But anything sweet, everything ivory with me, everything gonna be crisp.
Okay, so you basically don't like salty meat. Fair enough. Understood.
Oh, sweet man. That was a lot.
I just voted on what you said, so I respect it. All right. So today's topic is about healing and forgiveness. So since we have a lady, a female in the group today, I will let Randy start off. So please let us know, what does healing and forgiveness mean?
Healing and forgiveness. Oh my God. Both of them in tandem means to me it's for you as a person. It's for thyself. It's definitely not for the other person. In any experience, it's always going to be for yourself because it allows you to still grow and prosper and not feel hindered in any other way. But of course, there's circumstances that we do still be blocked in a way. But again, that's your personality choosing to block yourself. But for me, again, it was, you said healing.
Healing and forgiveness.
I mean, it takes a lot for healing and forgiveness. It takes time too. So I definitely believe in taking time and don't rush the process because either or, they're all in tangent with each other. That's how I feel about both of them. It's for yourself and it takes time.
Do you have your own set of process of what you go to towards healing and forgiveness?
My own process. Usually I block people out. I put them in a black hole. I feel like you don't exist to me just so I can deep rootly think about why I allow myself to have to get to that point that I have to heal and forgive you for what you have done to me.
Mhm.
I have a good example of that. I just got a random text message on my WhatsApp and I was like, what is that? Who is that? And then I just looked back and it was my ex-husband. And it's like, whoa, what are you bothering me for? I exited you out 3 years ago and you no longer exist to me. But that day I had him sign them papers. I knew I was done and I was content. But for some reason, it looked like he said, oh, I was in your area. Okay, I'm not looking for you. Why are you looking for me? It's good to know that I'm still in your mind though, but I have forgiven you for all your foolishness. And I'm okay, but that's not going to, that's why I say forgiveness for yourself, because if I was really resenting everything that he did to me, I wouldn't be able to heal and move on. So just recently, I mean, just a few minutes ago, he continued like, oh, I'm sorry. No, that's you still having some type of resentment with yourself with everything that you chose to do. So for me, life goes on.
Oh, this is deep. I was not expecting that. All right. Sorry for cutting you off. Do you still have more to say, or do you want to move to Ron? 'Cause-
Yeah, we can move on. Yeah, I'm good with that.
okay, go ahead, Ron.
So, I feel like forgiveness is a choice and healing is a process. You know,
That's deep. Okay.
because you could, when it comes to forgiveness, you could choose to forgive that person or not to forgive them. Because if you, like Manny said earlier today, forgiveness is for yourself. But then again, the forgiveness for yourself, the choice is like, do you still want to keep that person in your life, or you just want to be cordial around that person? That's just forgiveness for me. Like, not a lot of people are worth to be forgiven. Like they always say that, when it comes to forgiveness, you could forgive them, but you never could forget.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the healing process come with that. It's like to remove all that anger and remove all that animosity that you have for that person you dealing with inside. Meaning, like every time you're gonna be around that person, it's like I choose to forgive you, but the healing process that I'm still angry at you. I don't know how I could be in the same space with you. So when it comes to that, so like Manny said, it's a process. Well, my process is this: one question: are you done? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You done? Because nobody's never done. They always want to bring back the old shit. Well, are you done? That 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 that's what it is. Are you done? And once you realize that you're done, then you all healed, and then you could forget everything. But the forgiveness part, like I said, is always a choice between you. This, like Manny said, the forgiveness is always with you. But the choice is like the forgiveness. Are you willing to rekindle that relationship again?
Mm.
And that's the choice that you have to make within yourself.
Preach.
I'm
Preach.
I'm not gonna allow no drop airtime. So no, because sometimes a lot of people think that doing this podcast thing is easy, and that's why when I'm not gonna get too far off topic, but when I was talking to Ron and I was talking to my sister, like yes, I have my own quote unquote podcast to myself, but I really thrive off of conversation. And from having conversations with my sister and having conversations with Ron, we have great talks. And that's not to take away from other people that I have conversations with, because sometimes people may think that, oh, you have great conversations with others and not with me. That's just how life is. There are people who have great conversations with others that will not have great conversations with me. And I understand that. And that's just how life is. So with that being said, I will start to talk about healing and forgiveness. And to bring this to the topic, I have a group with my sister and my cousin about basically what we do. We have jokes that most people won't say. Most people can't get. Like I always keep on saying, like I have jokes that other people are not willing to understand. So that most people like they think that we're cruel, but it's just jokes.
That dark humor sometimes.
Dark humor, correct.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hee ha ha.
hee hee ha ha. So that when that happens, most people feel like, oh, we don't like each other. And I said that in the other previous podcast. So that's why, like, when I have different groups, it's to help alleviate things. So hold on, sorry about that. So yeah, so that's why I broached this topic to the group in regards to that. So healing and forgiveness. So for me, as I broached the topic with this group, I really didn't know how I was gonna go about it. And hearing what you guys have said is basically the same thing what my wife has been telling me. Like forgiveness is for you. So I wanted to start off by saying that, like forgiveness is for you. And I hear that all the time. And healing is a process. And now when Ron said that, I believe my wife said the same thing. And sometimes you do from time to time blank out. Like, yeah. So I will explain what it means to me. So forgiveness is exactly what you guys said. It is a taking the time to mentally understand that we all don't live the same path. Have anybody seen the movie Crash?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I am one of those people that you do not know what people went through because we all just meet at this moment. Like right now, we're meeting at this moment, and yeah, it may be digital. We're not actually all in a room, but we don't know what you've been through. at this certain moment. And that is why we don't know what the other person is thinking. We don't know why the person treated you that way and so forth. So I personally have been dealing with a lot of eternal trauma. And just like Amanda just said, sorry, Mandy, just like Mandy said, I had a great conversation with my wife. And she basically said, you are dealing with issues that you probably have not been able to. Because I'm the type of person that if if you say something and I agree with you, I'll basically tell you that you're right. Like I'm not at that point in my life to be debating the truth and saying, "Oh no, you're wrong, you're wrong." So what she basically told to me was like, "You deal with trauma from your childhood that you deal with your mother, and that is the reason why you basically move the way that you move and you try to basically, and I use this in my own words, I am protecting my own heart. And yes, this is coming from a person who's been married 15 years. I still protect my own heart. And most people say, why do you do that? And it comes from the trauma that I had as a child. And when my sister and Ron basically broke it down, that is something that I am still dealing with as a 42-year-old man. I am dealing with the trauma. And when I told you guys that I was going to go a little deep and go a little dark, this is what I mean. For me, and it's going to come off real angry and it's going to come off real dark to people. However, this is me speaking. I can't speak for others. The reason why I can forgive my father is because he's dead. He can't speak for himself. For me, I can only truly forgive people who did me wrong when they dead. I know that's gonna come off hard for some people, but true forgiveness comes from me when you're dead. Some people are gonna hear this and be like, oh my God, understandable. I'm talking from my perspective. True forgiveness comes when people who choose not to explain themselves are dead for me. So that's where true forgiveness comes from. So yeah, do I feel like I can't truly forgive people? Yes, I will be the first one to understand that. And there might be people who might listen to this and be like, damn, that's harsh. So be it. I'm always the one to say that I can see both sides of the pendulum. I said that when I was speaking to Ron, and I'll say that again on this podcast. I can understand both sides of the pendulum. And people will be like, but wait, forgiveness is for you. Yes, I understand that. But for me, my healing comes from, like my sister said, not having people around me. I do not want to deal with people, so therefore I don't deal with people. And there's a piece of it, like Ron said, where there's like, do you not want that person in your life, or do you have the ability to be cordial? I cannot be cordial because I cannot be fake. That's just me. So instead of being fake, I do not deal with people. And that's just the way I deal with things. Other people have ways of dealing with their own means of being what how they deal with trauma. And for that, I'm gonna open another door, to be honest. There was a point where me and my sister was not talking, and that was due to uh circumstances that I'm not gonna divulge too much. I asked her something and then she decided to, what I felt, do the opposite. So what I did was, instead of allowing myself to deal with the trauma, I just stopped speaking to her. And my wife was like, I can't believe, I don't want to use verbatim, but she was almost like, how could you do that to your sister? And I was like, this is how I heal. This is how I deal with things. And most people will not understand that. And my sister, who's on this podcast right now, can speak. I have no problem cutting people off. I don't. I really don't, because it doesn't bother me, because it's almost a survival skill. That's what it is. It's a sense of survival. I need to survive. I need to live in my own world. I need to live in my bubble. So that's why when me and my sister finally started to reconcile, it took time. But I will be remiss to sit here and say that everything will always be the same, because this wasn't the first time me and my sister went through something. However, it took time for us to even speak. It took time for us to even text. And she'll be the first one to say that. And that came from growth and me being able to try to be a better person, not necessarily the bigger man, just a better person. And that's what seems that most people don't understand. And my sister was able to put her pride to the side and understand where I came from. And that was the biggest moment that led to us being able to reconcile our relationship. Will it always be the way that it was? No. However, we have an understanding. And I remember, if Mandy could even remember, I remember Mandy saying, "Well, I really don't want to get on your nerves because you might not talk to me for another 2 years." And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about it as it being 2 years. I was like, "Damn, I really didn't speak to her for 2 years." And the thing was, like what the kids say now, it's about standing on business. Like, yeah, I stand on business, and some people, some people who really value relationships will not understand that. And I understand that. Most people value relationships, then they value self respect. And that may hit people hard when they hear this, but I value my peace and self respect more than I value a relationship. And that's just what it is. So when it comes to healing, that's a strenuous process because we spoke of healing and forgiveness go hand in hand. And I'm like, I teeter totter with that. And for me, the way I find peace is that I just blank everybody out and I get like real excommunicado. And that's why I really don't bring up certain people. And a lot of and people know that about me. And that's just a process because some people will be quick to say that you're not at peace because you have not found forgiveness. And my retort to that is, who are you to tell me how to forgive? Because there are many ways to skin a cat. You can't tell me to forgive the way you forgive. And I'm not telling you to forgive the way you forgive because I've done a lot of things in my life where maybe I'm not meant to be forgiven for. And I would understand if people don't forgive me because we all forgive in a different way and we all heal in a different way. So that was one of the things that I really came across. So yes, I know it may come off as a little bit dark when I said, yeah, I can only truly heal and forgive when people are dead. I know. And for people who hear this once again, I understand where you're coming from. It may turn you off. You may come from an understanding standpoint. However, I will say once again, this is me. It's not you, and I don't care. So, see,
Well, that's the good thing about this topic because it comes from different perceptions and we all have different views, you know. And that's why, you never know, like you said, who's listening. And they might perceive like, oh, that I understand now because, that's something I lived through. So it's like, yeah, I understand how that person sees things. And they might see how Ron see it, you know. So that's a good thing. But I also respect the way that you respect I respect how you heal because you go into something like my favorite animal besides my cats, turtle mode, and it's called self-preservation. So you have to protect within yourself your own things, your own ideologies that make sense to you. So you remove everything that doesn't make sense to you out of it, just so you can continue to be peaceful. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
that's beautiful.
I do agree.
Nothing
I
wrong with
do
that at
agree.
all.
You know, as we get older, we have to protect our hearts because, any little thing could be a little disappointment, It's the fear of being disappointed. And
Hmm.
and with disappointment, it comes with like various things. Like it could be like I said, you could have friendships for so many years, and it's that one little thing, and you see a continual pattern, and when you address it to yeah, and when you address it to the person, they continue doing it. At this point, it's like, why even continue the friendship or continue the brotherhood or the relationship from there? It's like returning cycle all over again.
Absolutely.
So and then for me, it's like my fear is like disappointment. And I know we always have fear of that. And for me, it's like I rather do things on my own than actually allowing somebody to do it for me and disappoint me.
Right.
So so you know, every obstacle that I go through, even like right now with my parents being old and disabled, you know, you can't rely on your own family. Sometimes you gotta go meal prep and just set a time frame to do everything to make sure everything is set up right. And as I get older, sacrifice is always also a thing when it comes to like healing and forgiveness. So, you can't sacrifice too much and then lose out on yourself. It has to be a perfect balance.
You're right.
And that's what the healing and forgiveness come from. It's just finding that perfect balance.
Yeah, balance is
Mhm.
everything. And like you said,
And
you being responsible for your parents, it's almost like the notation of being responsible is they say that you're supposed to be responsible for your parents. And, I'm not going to get too religious. Like, we are responsible for our parents just like our parents were responsible for us. And it's an ongoing cycle because that's how the way that the world was supposed to go. And sometimes when you're responsible, they take advantage of that because I won't dive too much into what Ron's going through. However, there's a moment where people take advantage of you being the responsible one.
Mhm.
yes,
And it's a scary feeling because I don't want to get too far off our topics of what we're talking about today, but it's like you almost get more respect for being the person who just doesn't care.
Mhm.
You really get more respect for being a person who does not care. When you roam around like you just don't, and we can curse on this because we went a long time without cursing. We're almost 23 minutes in. When we walk around like we don't give a fuck, we just don't care. It seems that people respect that more than being responsible. It's crazy. It's really mind boggling. And it's not everybody in the family, it's just certain family members where it's like, oh, he's irresponsible. But look at him. And then you almost,
Mhm.
without saying certain people's names, because I want this to always try to be vague. It's almost
Mhm.
like you look at the parents, like, how the fuck you respect the one that don't do shit?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And I know certain people that I'm talking about is never gonna hear this podcast. But you're a loser. I'll just say it like that. You're a loser. And I hate this. I'm not gonna even
But
say
they
it.
get respected for being a functioning loser. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
They are respected for being Peter Pans. They are respected for being grown kids. Let's put it as clear as day. You're respecting a grown kid
Mhm.
who does not, because let me be clear.
Hold his word. Do his job.
There's nothing wrong with still living with your parents if you are providing, if you are adding. There's nothing wrong with that because there are other societies outside of America that allow that parents still allow kids to live with them.
Yes, culturally. Mhm.
It's cultural. It's a very cultural thing. However, when you sit here, and once again, more than likely, this person's never going to hear this. However, if you ever do hear this and Ron decides to play it on the Bluetooth, when you sit here and you lie to family members saying that you staying in the house to take care of your parents, you are a liar, sir. I want you to know that. So if I ever play this on the Bluetooth, I don't need to say your name.
You take care of yourself. You take care of them.
You're not taking care of nobody. You are a freeloader. You are a liar. I want
see,
you
mom.
to know that about you.
You're functioning tyrant.
You're not a tyrant. You are a bum. You don't know how to wash dishes. You don't know how to wash your own clothes. You do not. You do not add to the productivity of the house. You are about to be a 40-year-old man who does nothing but live off your parents and trick off on these dirty debutantes.
Listen here, Spider-Man. We see you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me?
Yeah.
And what I mean by debutantes, for people who don't understand that, I'll say it again. You are about to be a 40-year-old man who trick off on Horus, who already gave it. So the day that Ron decides to play this on a speaker on Bluetooth and you happen to hear this, I don't care. You are a be you, and you know what?
Pretty,
You are
pretty much.
you're your daddy's son. So what? That's simple. And for that,
You your daddy's son. You your daddy's son.
you are your daddy's son, and I cannot forgive you, sir. Since we're gonna
Mm.
tie it back in, I cannot forgive you for that because you know why? even though I do not know your living circumstances, you had two parents in the house who actually
Mm-hmm.
poured into you, and yet you chose this life. This
Yeah,
is
I
why
don't
I don't
know.
do drugs. This is exactly why I don't do drugs, people. So, yes, some people may listen to this and be like, oh, I went on a tirade, but I tied it back into healing and forgiveness for those who are listening. It's, I am healing from not dealing with dumbasses, and I am not forgiving said dumbasses because it's not like they don't know what they do. It's more on sometimes the parents not putting a foot down and making the child grow.
That's a fact.
So
But one day, that person gonna learn the lesson. Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
I think, unfortunately, the person has to be put in that circumstance for them to understand the wrath and the capabilities of what's needed in these type of circumstances. So it has to be really tangible for them, like them physically having to go through it.
Yeah.
Obviously,
They got to be
them visually seeing it's not doing it. So them physically having to feel it, then I think they might make a little bit of a change. Not so significantly, but something might happen.
listen. You know, like I said to Ron in the other podcast, time is our biggest asset.
Mm-hmm.
You sometimes you got to put somebody behind the wall and give them a time frame. Like I said, I spoke to my wife about this. In a hypothetical, if something goes wrong, you give a person 1 year, 1 year to the day. If you can't do nothing in 1 year to the day, you wasted time anyway. Time to go.
That's right. And time waits for nobody.
Time waits for no
Yeah.
one.
Mm-mm.
And
That
you
is
know what? I'm going to open another door about healing and forgiveness. What about when you're, because Ron said about being cordial and stuff like that. What do you guys feel about when the other person does not see fault in what they did? When you decide to grow and verbalize to the person your issues or whatever you're going through with them, what do you do with a person who just sees no fault? I would like to hear you guys' opinion on that.
Oh, so the person sees no fault in what they're doing.
Even when you speak logically.
All you can do is something basically what you guys spoke about last time. Establish these boundaries. That's key to life. That allows you to stay sane wholeheartedly. And if they can't work within those boundaries, what they say la vie. Life goes on. I don't care. I don't look left. I don't look right. I don't look front or back. I know I established boundaries and told you, unfortunately, my expectations. And if you couldn't respect them or work within them, I want to see fit without being them not being around. Again, that's why I was able to respect your boundaries, Rich, with how we came back to talking. Because, like I said, I don't want you not to talk to me for 2 more years. So I'm going to respect your boundaries. And you say, don't go around trying to talk to such and such without me because I feel like you're going around my back or whatever. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to do as you wish until you see fit that, oh, yeah, don't, no, go ahead. You can reach out to them or whatever. Because at the end of the day, it's your boundaries. So either I respect it or I'm going to know that I'm going to lose my only sibling. And I don't want that. I did not want that. So that's how I see boundaries is key to life in
Ron,
general.
before you say something, I want to say something. I would like to take the time out to apologize to you. And this is coming from the standpoint of what I like to use. One of my favorite sayings is emotion outweigh logic, not just and it's always in a heated moment because when you're back down, you normally go to what you know best. So with that being said, I want to apologize because I had a great talk in regards to us rekindling our relationship and so forth. That really came from my wife. And she said something in regards to where she said, you can't always expect people to heal like you. You can't expect people to move like you. And for a long time, I was stuck in my own ways when it came to that. I really was. And that's why that like as far as our healing process and forgiveness with you, it really started with that. I had to really step outside because once again, I like to pride myself on being able to see both sides of the argument or both sides of the debate. And when I was emotionally invested, for some reason, I could not see both sides of the debate. And my wife kept on saying to me over and over again, you are expecting your sister to be like you, to heal like you, to move like you. And that's not fair. And I was stuck and adamant about, man, fuck her then. And I'm going to be honest with you, Mandy. I say it right to your face. I was like, man, fuck her then. If she not moving like me, she can't be around me. And it took a long time for me to sit down with myself and understand the words that my wife said to me and start that path of trying to be better and starting to talk to you again because I'll be in full honesty with you because if I might say, if I'm correct, Mandy, you do have a degree in psychology, correct?
Yeah, I have a master's degree in psychological services.
That's so, excuse me, masters. All right, people. Like I said, both people on this podcast. I only talk to smart people. You know, I got mines in the street. I got my these two people right
Listen.
here, they got their masters on paper. You understand? These are the people I deal with. I deal with intellectual people. That's why when you hear me speak, I sound like this. And like I said, I don't code switch. I originally did try to go to college for communications. I really wanted to be a sportscaster. I think I like talking in certain aspects, which is why I call myself the antisocial socialite, because I don't like really fucking with people like that. So back to the subject. I, for a moment, used to always think that my sister was stuck in Stockholm syndrome. For those who do not know what Stockholm syndrome is basically the ability to empathize with your oppressor. So I'm giving people a little bit of insight because I know some people are like, oh, he always saying stuff and he don't know what it means. That's not me. I don't say anything unless I know what I mean. So yeah, I thought that my sister had Stockholm syndrome for a certain person. I'm not going to dive too much deep into it. However, I had to learn, like my sister said a couple of minutes earlier, she heals in her own way. She keeps people at a certain capacity, and that's why she chooses to move the way that she does. I, for a while, could not empathize or even understand that. And it took a while for me to understand where she's coming from. She moves different because that's how her healing process is. And it took a long time because, like Ron was explaining, some people like to be cordial and some people just stay away. Once again, disclaimer for people who are listening and made it this far, I am one of those villain personalities, aka I don't fuck with you. I don't talk to you no more. That's just who I am. When I'm done with you, I'm done with you. I don't want nothing to do with you. I really don't do things halfway. And people know that about me. So that's why I wanted to take the time out, with all that being said, to apologize to you, Mandy. And I wish I would have been able to emotional intelligence to see that the reason the way you moved, that you were moving, was because that's part of your healing process. So I want to apologize to you.
I accept your apologies. Cause Ron, what the funny part is, I feel like we got a little bit. I felt like the relationship is getting warm. I told him, cause I was gonna pop up at your door, but I know you live in a stand down. You could have a gun and shoot me at your porch. And I said, I don't want you shooting me. And he said, I probably can shoot you. I said, I don't know, cause that's what that Florida thing would do. We try to shoot somebody, or we try to take you down.
I remember you saying that before. Ron, you driving somewhere?
Yeah, he
Rocket.
riding around getting it.
Yeah, I heard your background real quick. That's the second time hearing your background. You got to find a parking lot. But
He over there getting that meat. Mhm.
I was not, I was not expecting that. But yeah, I
Right.
remember. I remember when we had that conversation, Mandy, about you
Yeah,
saying you're going to show up at my door, and that really doesn't work well for people because somebody else did that before and almost called the cops on them. So
I know that's right.
yeah, I really don't like surprises. I mean, for
I
the
know.
most part, a lot of people has not been to my house, and I've been here for almost what 6 years. I don't really
Exactly.
invite people over. That's just my personality. But certain people are invited, and you two are part of the group that was. I remember one time you said you was, and I was like, I don't know how you're gonna walk through the door because that's not gonna work out for you. But we come we come a long way when it comes to that. Yeah. Sorry, Ron. I didn't know if you wanted to chime in on as far as like forgiving others and stuff like that, because I know that you also go through a lot of things with certain people, and
Yeah.
you started to understand that you understand people for what they are and you keep them at a distance as well. So if you wanted to like speak a little bit on that, I will give you the floor. So go ahead.
Yeah. So, like, piggyback what Mandy said, creating boundaries for those people that don't see at fault for them. But I'm gonna bring back that they need that pill, man. They need that Benadryl. And bring back the Benadryl because the Benadryl will help them because they're allergic. So that Benadryl will help them out. That's what I gotta say. Because they're allergic to accountability. So they need to get the Benadryl first. Then we can have conversations. But other than that, I will say this, I say silence. Silence speaks a lot because, once people see that you're doing great and you're an unstoppable person, all they're going to do is go back to other people and feel like, yo, how this person is doing. Or how this, like, oh, let me ask this person who's close to him how he's doing or what he's been up to. So for me, I like to remain silent. You're going to watch me be great. You're going to watch me be unstoppable because nothing can stop me from being great. So you start seeing the behaviors when people gonna be looking out for you more you look out for them. So that's what I when it comes to like those population of people who see who don't see fault in their own actions, I just kill them with silence. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna be looking for me. You ask about me. I don't ask about you. So so that means that the other person is really hurt because they can't take advantage of you anymore. And that's what the manipulation comes from.
Yep.
So that's what I see when those people I just stay silent and they're gonna watch me be great. That's it. And the only way, like I said, when you use social media as a platform to watch me be great, you're gonna have to hear from your own parents. You're gonna hear from me. So you're gonna hear you're gonna hear from the parents that we share. That's what I see.
All right. I hear you over there.
Mm-hmm.
Growth is a mindset. And
Yep.
just because, once again, just because people get old don't mean that they want growth. It's really that
Yep.
simple. And I had to learn that. People don't really want growth. Some people want complacency. Some people are okay with that. They really are. And that's when you have to learn to just move on, because I'll be the first one to say that Ron and I gained a relationship basically like almost out the blue. We really did. And we had a great conversation. And I don't remember the time or day, but I remember pinpointing the time that me and Ron had a conversation. And I told him straight up, bro, I was jealous of you. You had both parents. And we just got into a deep conversation about life. And it made me understand them more and more. And that's when we started to grow, because like I had different relationships with his brothers at different points in my life. I'll always say that. And now that I'm at that point in my life where it's more about like mental stimulation, upbuilding, and just jokes, hee hee ha ha, like Ron likes to say, I like it. And this is where I am with Ron. And the same thing with my sister. Like, that's why we have this little group that we have, because it's like we say stuff and we don't get offended. It's all jokes. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, we could not be speaking to each other at all. That's what most people fail to understand. We don't have to talk to each other most of the time, but we're happy that we do. And that's why we bring positive vibes. So if
Good
anybody else has
vibes
something to
only.
say, I'll let
Good
you say
vibes
something
only.
before I say a send off. So go ahead.
I say good vibes only.
Good vibes only.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's all about positive positivity and just uplifting each other. That's all I see it. We're a little bit jokes. We're a little bit jokes on the side.
Positivity with jokes on the side. What you say, Ryan? What you call them?
What people? The fraudulent people?
No, go ahead. You can go with the fraudulent people first.
You got grenades, you got what? Wire bounce checks. That's a whole different topic, Primo. We could get that for that, but I don't want to get into much in your time with that. But
We'll
that's
make
how I
that.
told those people.
We'll timestamp that. We'll do that another time. But yeah,
Yeah.
like Ron says, he ha ha. So once again, do y'all have any send-offs before I do the last send-off? Mandy, do you got anything you want to say?
Oh, it was great chatting with you guys. Happy Saturday to all the listeners and viewers. Oh, you can't see me, but I am perfection. Until next time.
For sure. Ron, you got anything you want to say?
It's always been a pleasure. We able to talk and just add little jokes in it, and we could just be free. That's all I have to say.
Yes, sir.
God bless.
God bless. So, everyone who's listening, if you made it this far, I truly appreciate y'all. I'm gonna talk it into existence. This is one of the greatest podcasts that you haven't heard yet. So, when you hear this, just understand that these are issues that you always deal with. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 50 years from now. These are issues that people are always going to deal with when it comes to forgiveness and healing. So, with that being said, peace, love, each one teach one, like my cousin Al used to always say, and always be grateful because you never know what the next day holds. So with that being said, y'all take care. Until next time. Peace.